occurred to me that you guys can't even see me. So it is like 7:45 in the morning. I'm up and I don't know why. But I was gonna make this video last night, but then my parents came home and yada yada yada. I wanted to talk about my opinions about like bullying and, guns and like, what else did I want to talk about? There was something else. But I'll just go in for it with like bullying. I don't think it's right. I think it's very important to, if you have a child, teach your child that everyone is an individual, and if they want to be respected, they need to respect other people. But you also need to tell them that not everyone has that outlook. Not everyone is going to respect you, not everyone's going to give you respect, not everyone's going to see you as anything. Sorry, but I'm trying to find some light, because there is none in here. It's my fault. I mean, I could put my lamp up there, but I don't know how well that would work. Let me do that real quick. I know I'm fat. Everybody deal with it. Oh, what do you know? The cord don't reach. Holy shit. Because I have it plugged into a power bar. And, yeah. See if you can see me better. You can kind of see me better, but, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that just because you're nice to people, they're going to be nice to you. They're not. They will absolutely 110% not be nice. You are more likely to run into an angel on earth than you are to run into a person that's going to be nice to you just because you're nice to them. That doesn't mean that you should go around being mean, but be nice to people, but don't let them walk all over you. Like, I work retail. I'm nice to people. Even if they come in and they're being a complete and total fucking cunt to me, I'm nice. But in my personal life, I will be nice up until a certain point. That's basically, an understood thing. Another thing about bullying, what I think schools should do is I think schools should have, how, Starbucks is going to close. I think it's in May to go through. I don't know if it's called sensitivity training or, something to do with race training. Like, I saw what it was called, but my brain did not retain it. I do absolutely believe that person was being racist when they called the police on those two black men. I'm not going to say every Starbucks is racist, but it is a very white establishment, and I don't mean that it's, like, owned by the KKK or something. I mean just, like, a lot of, like, stereotypical white people go there. And if they like Starbucks products, it's just like any other business. But that does not give that business the right to call the cops on two African-American men who were doing nothing. And white people go into that establishment and do that all the time. And no one says or does anything to them, I'm sure. And, like, I feel like schools should have things like that. Like, when you find a kid that is being a problem, and, and I know it's not going to work. I know some kids are sociopaths, they're psychopaths, they're destined to be horrible people just because they don't have in their head a sense of ethics. I know their parents have tried to teach them, their siblings have tried to teach them, people that love them have tried to teach them right and wrong, have tried to explain to them how to treat people. I know that their teachers have tried everything that they can. But I do still think that schools should have programs in place. I also think that the no-tolerance policy should actually be enforced. You know how many fucking schools have no-tolerance policies, but a student was bullied to the point of suicide anyway? So fucking many. In almost every situation where someone was bullied to the point of committing suicide, that school had a no-tolerance policy. But the person that was bullying them and telling them to go kill themselves every day in the hallway and shoving their head into a fucking locker was not expelled, was not, detained, was not sent to another school, was not separated from other students, because obviously there's something wrong with someone that can't just go to school and not be violent to a stranger. I believe in self-defense. Like, someone comes at you, you have the right to defend yourself. If you're a pacifist, that doesn't give them the right to take advantage and beat you up. But there's so many times where I see a story about someone committing suicide who's like 12 years old or 13 years old. They had their whole life ahead of them, but because the school did not enforce a no-tolerance policy the way they should, this child, let's be honest, they're not a teenager, they're a child, committed suicide. They always make it seem as though the person being bullied is at fault. The person that's already got someone attacking them on a daily basis sometimes, physically, or mentally, or, verbally, should I say. That's the person that should also seek help, try and bring attention to the problem, try and rally people to the problem, and also defend themselves every day from this person. No. The person that they told, because believe me, they did tell someone, should have protected them. A teacher or another student that witnessed it in the hallway should have said something and protected them. I'm pretty sure there's an amendment in the fucking Constitution that says freedom from fear, freedom from want, freedom from, it's either in the Bill of Rights or the Constitution. I know I'm not, that educated. I know we all learn it in school, but my brain, can't recall it from, 4th grade. But yeah, freedom from fear. That doesn't happen once you become a grown-up. That freedom from fear is supposed to be something that you have from birth in this country. And I know everyone has their phobias and the things that they're afraid of as an individual, but you shouldn't have to be afraid walking down the hallway of school. You were there to learn, and so is that other kid. And whether you're the bully, or the person being bullied, or the person being bullied that has turned into a bully, which, by the way, you're wasting your time. Anyone putting negative energy out towards someone else, thinking that it's going to make their life better, because their life is bad right now, you're not doing yourself any favors, and you're hurting another person who may even continue the cycle that you are on. And they may go on and become a bully. And some people don't stop being bullies when they get out of high school. It doesn't stop. They stay that horrible, despicable person, and they abuse people at their work. They abuse their siblings. They abuse sometimes even their elderly parents and their grandparents. That's another reason that the whole bullying thing, and there's some people that say, oh, bullying is always going to be a problem. You're always going to have, in a way that's true, you're always going to have somebody looking down at you, judging you, picking on you. But it's hard to deal with if you are small. I was not small. And people are physically doing these things to you. If you are a peaceful person and you don't know how to defend yourself properly, and people are physically attacking you, or someone's physically or verbally saying things to you, and you're just at school, you just want to learn and get your education and then move on and go to college and be a productive adult, but you can't because someone is verbally abusing you, physically abusing you on a daily basis in the hallway, and you tell teachers, and you tell guidance counselors, and you tell your friends, and you tell your parents, and it seems like no one does anything. And that's another thing. If your kid comes to you and tells you that they're being bullied on a daily basis, don't just say, oh, well, you need to learn to defend yourself. What you do is you go into that school and you demand something be done. Because you might not think that your child is depressed enough to commit suicide. You might not think that it's at the point where they will commit suicide. But if they are reaching out to you, it's bad. A lot of people deal with bullying. They give it a while and say, well, maybe this will pass. Maybe this thing that this person is picking on me for, they'll forget about it. Maybe they'll leave me alone. There's always that period of denial where, maybe you'll stop. Maybe they'll stop. And if it doesn't stop and you tell people and they don't do anything, and sometimes there's nothing you can do. You can march into the school all you want, but some schools, like I said, they have a zero tolerance policy. And it might as well be a zero fucks policy because they don't give a fuck about the kids that go to that school. They don't give a fuck about the child actually learning. Schools are supposed to be for learning, but they're also supposed to be for you to learn social skills as well as learning how to, add and subtract and, learning geography. I don't think that anyone deserves to have their ability to learn infringed upon because of some asshole who's having a bad day. Also, if you were a grown-up and you've bullied somebody, if you have a way to apologize to that person, I suggest you do it. Because there's been people that I picked on. I don't feel like I picked on them as bad as I was picked on by other people. And I don't know if I picked on them as that, like, as a reflex of being picked on. Because what I was picked on for, I will never get an apology for. What was said about me, and I address it in a video called The Rumor Mill, I think, in one of my older videos. It's back like 2 years on my channel. But yeah, what I was picked on for in school was gross and disgusting. And I will never get an apology for it. So, one, you will probably feel better about yourself if you apologize to somebody. But also, that person, because believe it or not, these things follow you. And everyone who's ever been picked on can tell you. Anyone that's ever had a traumatizing high school experience, and I think everyone has to a degree, can tell you that those things stick with you. And I'm not going to say they always affect you, like, they don't always make you depressed, they don't always, but you think about it a lot, and you sit there and you wonder what made someone who was also a teenager and a child, basically, come up with such a disgusting thing to say about somebody, or such a rude thing to say to you, or what made them think it was okay to push your books out of your hand, or just punch you in the face in the hallway. But yeah, if you apologize to them, it lifts the weight off both of your shoulders. And I feel like so many people just leave stuff unsaid also. So I feel like you might be like, oh, well, it's no big deal, like, they know that I was just kidding back in the day, but they might not have. There's, like, no light in here, and I'm still fucking sneezing. But yeah, if you ever even slightly bullied somebody, you should probably apologize. I'm not saying that as, like, a scolding person, because, like I said, I was picked on, and there were people that I picked on. And there were people that when I picked on them, I was joking around, but I still apologized. And in the majority of cases, they're like, oh, it's alright, but still, I feel like it's another way to clear the air, and it takes weight off both of your shoulders. Like, there was this kid I was friends with, and he was a cool person, and he tolerated me through all of this, and I don't know why. I used to smack him in the back of the head. I don't know why. I had never seen NCIS, but I was doing a Gibbs. If you've ever watched NCIS, the boss, Gibbs, smacks DeNozo in the back of the head. I don't know why I did this to this kid. I don't know if it was because I had an older brother that would randomly come up to me and do shit like that to me. Yeah. So, I apologized to him over Facebook, and I know that's not face-to-face. And he was like, oh, well, it's no big deal, but I remember our senior year, I went to walk past him. I had no intention of hitting him or anything, and he flinched. And it reminded me of how I flinched when my brother would walk past me, because I had gotten so used to him hitting me. And I said, that's not right, that's not okay. And I didn't apologize at the time, and I should have stopped and said, I'm sorry. But when I thought about it years later, I was like, wait a minute, he was reacting like a trauma, Another thing, aside from the whole, like, apologizing, because you should, but if you are an older sibling and you feel like it is your duty to toughen up your younger siblings, I just want to tell you you're wrong. Your younger siblings do not need toughened up. Especially if you were an older child and you didn't have an older sibling that beat the shit out of you, if you didn't have older friends, it's not, siblings are not, actually. Siblings or cousins or friends or whatever, it's not your job to toughen somebody up that you think is weak. That person is living their life and trying to have a happy life, just like you are. And if you think that it's okay for you to put your hands on somebody else and toughen them up because of how they react to certain situations, or because you think that they need to toughen up, I want you to look within yourself and ask yourself why you think that. I don't care if you're older now and you used to do that, and that was your justification to your siblings. I don't care if you are 17 years old and you have a 14-year-old sibling and you are doing that to them. I want you to look at yourself, and I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to say, why do I feel the need to do this? What happened to me? What's inside of me that makes me feel like this person needs toughened up? yes, there's an entire generation of kids and teenagers being brought up right now that don't know how to deal with opinions being different than theirs. They are so easily offended. They are so easily triggered, whatever. And I don't think that's right. But I also don't think another person has the right to put their hands on someone else or say things to that person to toughen them up. Because that's not going to toughen them up. You know what it's going to do? It's going to create a trauma reaction in their brain. And their brain is going to tell them, avoid this person. Don't talk to this person. And if that's your sibling, you shouldn't want that. You shouldn't want your younger sibling. Or if you're a younger sibling who's bigger than your older sibling, and you think you need to toughen them up because they're older and they're weaker than you, same goes. It's not your job to put your hands on somebody or use words or use threats or intimidation to toughen somebody up. They don't need toughened up. Okay? They just want to be happy, and so do you. And you should try and find happiness in other ways besides abusing and taking over somebody else. There's something else I was going to say. It's usually an older sibling to a younger sibling, or an older friend to a younger friend, or it's people that think that they have power over somebody. How are you toughening someone up? By creating a reaction in their brain to avoid you. When in reality, especially if they're your sibling, or you sit there and try and call them your best friend at the same time, how are you going to do that whenever you are traumatizing them and their brain is immediately going to avoid this person? It's not right, and it is abuse. I don't care if you think that because you're in the same generation and that you're not their parent, you're not abusing them, or you're not an adult versus a kid. It's not abuse because you're a year apart in age. It's still abuse. It's still fucking abuse. It's abusive behavior, and there's something wrong with you if you're okay with doing that to another human being. I'm sorry. You probably have anger issues. You probably had someone do something to you that was traumatizing. And if you did, you should probably try and seek help for that instead of pushing it out onto other people. I'm not going to say that's the case with everybody, but like I said, it's abuse and it's bullying. And bullying is abuse. I think that's another reason. People call it bullying because they don't want to call it what it is. They don't want to call it abuse. Bullying sounds like there's this person in your life, and you're a kid, and all of a sudden when you become a grown-up, that person is going to stop harassing you, and stop talking shit, and stop beating you up. And no one's ever going to do that to you again because you're a grown-up. Bullying makes it sound way less harmful than it is. Abuse is what it is. And I think if we addressed it as abuse, whether it be in school, or at home, or on the way home from school, or on the way to school from home, maybe then we would have some results. And I know that someone calling you a name should not be seen as abuse. The first time they call you a name, it might not be abuse, because you can brush it off, because they're a stranger to you. You can sit there and go, oh, well, they don't fucking know me, they can call me that, but they don't fucking know me, and they don't, they're just saying that because they're having a bad day. But once they've said it to you 15 days in a row, going down the hallway, and they're starting to push your books out of your hand, and they're trying to trip you so that you fall and get trampled by other students, that's when it becomes abuse. But abuse follows a pattern, and if you can pick up on the signs of abuse, maybe you could stop it, is basically usually what they say. And I know that maybe bullying is a little different than abuse. So I think that maybe bullying doesn't sound as harsh as it is, and that's why people don't want to do anything. Because they hear, oh, it's just a bully kid situation, they'll grow out of it. If the kid's depressed enough to take their own life, they're not going to grow out of anything. They're not going to be alive long enough. Or if they decide to steal a gun from someone and go into school and shoot the person or people that are abusing them, those kids are not going to live long enough to realize their mistake and grow out of it. And I know that people that bully do horrible things and say horrible things, but they're a human being like you or me, and we all make mistakes. And they deserve the right, some things aside, to learn from their mistakes and grow. If they're sexually assaulting you, raping you, molesting you, no, they don't deserve any kind of that. They deserve to die. They do. They deserve to die in jail. They deserve to rot in jail. But that's just my opinion. But I'm going to stop this video here because it's gotten really serious. I didn't intend to talk on this topic for that long, but as I was talking, more and more things popped into my head because I didn't script this. This was just stuff that I started saying. But I hope that this video has been enlightening. I try to do these videos and I try and make them short because I know that longer videos are, you know, harder to upload and they're harder to watch and shit like that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, share it. And if you do share this and your friends say, this video is too long, I don't want to watch it, then just be like, okay, well, tell me when you're on Wi-Fi, or tell me when you're somewhere that you can watch it, and I will send you the link again. But yes. Thank you for watching, and no, I wasn't crying, I'm just, like, my nose just got stuffed up and started running all of a sudden. But yeah. I like doing these videos because it gives me something to do, and let my ideas out of my head. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Peace. Just an unofficial white bitch out.